Well, hello everyone. Happy Friday. Happy today. Welcome to the Iron Show. My name is Iman, and I will be your host in the next 90 minutes to talk about today, which is World Cancer Day. I am maybe so many different things, from a surgeon to a poet and a traveler, a learner, listener. But most importantly, at least for today, I am going to be Dr. Iman, a surgeon who has seen enough. Not there's no like maybe not enough, but hundreds of different cancer patients. Maybe we can talk about uh, some facts and some mythical ideas about cancer. Maybe we can answer some questions, and hopefully we can help someone and help each other to come to a better understanding about cancer, which is a fact that we sometimes we don't want to talk about it. Yes, so just to make sure that everything is going smoothly, I just want to make sure that my audio is audible. Am I audible on TikTok, Instagram? My friends on YouTube are watching. If you just leave a comment so I know that everyone, how are you doing, and how is my voice reaching to you all? Thank you so much. Yeah, so perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And apparently everything is good. Well, yeah, so as I mentioned, today is February 4th, which is World Cancer Day. To be honest, I believe some topics like cancer, it is not enough to talk about them just for one day, but maybe this is just it. And like maybe we can use this as a reason to talk about cancer and see how we can improve our health in general. Yes, so I would love to hear from you first. Maybe if you have a question, something that you want to know, or there's something that I've always been thinking about around cancer. I know that I have this question feature on Instagram, so you can send your questions. I have my eyes on comments on TikTok and also Facebook and YouTube. So, and if you have a cancer story, let's say, something that you want to talk about, could be educational, something that may be inspiring that you want to share, that would be even great if you want to join and share and talk about your experience around cancer. I hope that today's session be focused more on education, and just there are some facts that might save lives, simple actions that might save lives. So maybe we can talk about that. more. All right. So meanwhile, I am going to add some points, something that, then we can carry on the conversation from time to time. Let's start with what is cancer in general. There are maybe 100 different definition of cancers. Depends on which part of the body is involved and, staging and the nature of the cancer itself. But let's say in the simple term, we can say cancer means that there is, in part of our body, things get out of order and some cells start to grow out of order. They grow faster, more than they are needed. And so when unwanted growth is happening, of course, there are more demand. So that part of the body demand more blood supply, energy supply. Sometimes the mass is formed, and so it is space occupied. So of course, it might cause some problems at the beginning by surrounding. So if there is a cancer, it might happen that so this healthy tissue around the cancer start to deteriorate, and then when the cancer is growing bigger and bigger, it might impact some other part of the body. It could be local or like metastatic, which is the very end steps of the cancer. So that is the cancer in a nutshell, let's say. So growth, unwanted, and we don't want it. We don't want it. It's out of control and it's demanding the supply for healthy tissues. This is cancer in general. But why? The question is that why does cancer happen? Again, if we can answer this simple question, we already can treat all the cancers. But to simplify the reason is, let's say if we do know that which organs of the body are more prone and or more vulnerable for cancers. Do you have any idea that which part of the body are more at risk? Let me see if you have anything in the comments. I am trying to find some answers, but anyway. In general, the more... Okay, someone says stomach. Skin. Yeah. The fact is that the more the organ is duplicating or in growth in general, the more it's at risk of cancer. Let's say skin is replicating every day. New cells are generating every day, and the dead cells are we shed the dead cells, dead cells from the body. That's why skin has a high risk of cancer. Stomach, but let's say colon cancer or GI cancer is one of the most frequent cancers. Again, because the cell inside the gastrointestinal tube they are regenerating every day. So old cells are dying, and we shed the cells. So we need new cells. We produce new cells, and the more this regenerating happens, the higher is the risk of cancer, because the reason is that there is a glitch, let's say an error and a mistake happening during this duplication. And this malfunctional gene is created, and then it goes generation to generation to generation, and then it's become out of order. Don't want to go to be too technical, but this is the reason behind cancer. So I just want to get here to this point, that why does it happen? Why out of the blue the gene of one cell decides to go out of order? Damage. There are some places in our DNA that they are regulatory genes, that they kind of like get everything in order. And when that specific part of the gene is damaged, the duplication or regeneration of the cells get out of control. And why this is going to be damaged? By toxin. There are some genetic disease that this part of the cell is genetically problematic. So that's how we get to cancers that go through generation in families. The grandma, mother, daughter, like they are all at risk of breast cancer. This is part of the reason. But even our healthier body, healthier cells, they are at risk of cancer every day, because of they are exposed to ongoing toxin all around us, from sun, which is vital for our health, to all this toxin, pollutions, toxic foods, toxic everything. And of course, emotional damage is important as well. So sometimes when the body is under stress, it cannot perform optimum. So we cannot take care of all this regulatory process. Sometimes it might happen that so to come to a conclusion, let's say that cancer is caused by multifactorial reasons. There is no one reason, and so many things come together to provoke this DNA damage, and then goes to cancer. Toxic food, of course, toxic food, radiations, as I mentioned, sun. There are some, let's say, risk factors for each cancer recognized. For example, like the most, let's say, popular and famous one is smoking and lung cancer. So this is a fact that, so we know that the more you are exposed to smoking, the higher is the risk of lung cancer. And so many other reasons, of course. So that was, let's say, a summary to open the discussion about cancer, and to know that this is important to talk about, because it is kind of like hard to treat, cure, especially some cancer. That nowadays we know that there are many cancers that are treatable. Especially over the last 20 years, it was a huge improvement, from breast cancer, colon cancer, ovarian cancer. There are so many cancers, skin lesions, that they are at risk of cancer. We can do we can treat them all, but still there are some other cancers that are really, really hard to treat. But most important part is that almost all cancers are easy to prevent. And that is why this topic is important. Maybe we cannot treat all cancers, but almost all of them are preventable. And that is where exactly that you are part of the plan. Because if you don't take responsibility for your care, for your health, we miss this big, huge opportunity to prevent cancers. There are some cancers that we will talk about them, that how screening is important to prevent them. And there are some other simple lifestyle changes that we can do to prevent cancer. All right, enough of this lecture. Let's get to talk to you guys. If I really ask you if you have something, thank you. If you have something to share specifically about cancer, if you have like your first-hand experience or second-hand something you want to talk about, and you want to share some more, let's say, individual stories, you're more than welcome to join. I see that Dr. Rashda is here. She has a first-hand story, as we know. Let's talk to her first as our first guest, and we take it from there. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Hey.
Please just call me Rashda.
How are you, Rashda?
I'm doing good. I just have been having trouble sleeping, so I woke up a little while ago and I saw that you were live, and I got on and I was like, whoa, perfect story, perfect subject.
All right. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining us today. Again, as we all know, today is World Cancer Day, which is just a name. It's not enough. One day for cancer, 365 days are, I believe there are days that you just, the names are extra, like World Cancer Day, Mother's Day. Like these days are, like.
Yeah, every day has a name to it.
Yeah, so. Every day you can name it. You can just, yeah. So but today let's make this reason, like make it a reason to talk about cancer.
Okay.
Thank you.
So how would you like me to start?
Talk about you and your story and how this happened, because so many of our friends so there are people who on TikTok, they don't see you. If you introduce yourself, and let's start from the beginning, how everything started for you.
Hi, my name is Rashda Riaz. I live in California. I am now 50, and I'm a pharmacist by trade. In 2018, everything was fine. I was healthy. I just got, taken 2 trips to Pakistan, family, everything. I was having, in my early 40s, I was having a lot of issues with my period. I had fibroids. I got them checked because I couldn't take any type of birth control. And so the hormones, ever since I had my baby, my body could not stand any type of hormones at all. And so at 43, I remember it was so bad, I thought I actually had a miscarriage. And so at that time, hindsight's 2020, one of the options that the doctor had given me was to do a hysterectomy. Being stupid, sometimes not knowing, I was more afraid of going into menopause, not thinking. So the thing went on, things kind of slowed down. I didn't do anything about it. I was working. Because this was my second career, I worked very hard. I graduated when I was 40 for this career. So I think that was a huge stress that may have led to it, because we don't have any history of cancer in our family. So, and then of course my father dying when I was 40, my mother dying before I was diagnosed. The stress of commuting every day, an hour and a half, and working, standing up, job, coming home, cook, the whole shebang that women do every single day. I'm not any special than any other woman. And one day, I just felt my stomach, and there was just something hard. And I showed it to my husband, and he's like, "What is that?" He's like, "You need to get it checked out." So the next day, I had to go to work, and I got up, went to work, and in the morning, I started getting really bad pains in the side, and I fell at work. So they called 911, and the EMT came, and he's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Something hurts really bad." So he touched my stomach, and he goes, "Yes, there's something there, man." And so they took me to the closest hospital. My husband showed up. They did a CT scan, I'm thinking, okay, no big deal, everything. And they come back, and the lady's like, "There's a mass, and there's a spot on your liver. We need to find a gynecological surgeon, like, now for you." I still didn't take it, like, by any means seriously. I'm like, "Why?" She's like, we need to take you now. Unfortunately, we can't find anybody. So I need you to go home and call this doctor tomorrow. Get in as soon as possible. So thank God, my job was amazing. They said, "Go home, do whatever you need to do." So I think we made an appointment. I called the doctor and said, "This is what happened." They got me in immediately. Dr. Skilling's great. He was my surgeon. When he saw the CT scan, he's like, "Oh, it's not going to be a big deal. We're going to go in. We'll go in laparoscopically, take out the fluids. I don't think it's anything to worry about." So we're okay. So then I had surgery on the 31st of 2018. And we got there, my husband was there, and we were thinking maybe 2-3 hours. They prepared me for surgery, everything. And when I had told him, I said, "If you go in there, and there was definitely something on my ovary, on my left ovary." I said, because I was having problems anyways, I said, "Get rid of everything. Okay, just give me a full hysterectomy." And he goes, "Okay." So I wake up apparently 8 hours later, and basically what the doctor told me is we went in laparoscopically, and it was like hard as a rock. So he made, basically, I have a 14-inch cut from above my belly button all the way down to my pelvic area. He goes, "We had to cut you open." And he goes, you had your ovary, I could not see your left ovary. It was fully covered with cancer. So we did the hysterectomy. He goes, "Then you had lymph nodes." So we took off the lymph nodes.
How long do you think you had this before all this happened?
I would think maybe a couple of months to a year. I don't know. The sad part about it was I was supposed to get an intravaginal, ultrasound done in August, because I was getting these ultrasounds, and they would have been caught in August instead of December, and that probably would have changed the staging.
So why didn't you do that?
Lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Lazy work. Oh, it's not a big deal.
So let's get back to I don't know when you join our session today.
Okay.
I talk about definition of cancer, why it's happening, how it's become like. These are like technical part. We like most. To be honest, not me, not the best doctors, surgeons all around the world. There are 90% of cancer that we don't know. We just, like surgery is the last resort. Okay, so it happens. Let's just cut it off. Okay, that's the best thing.
Okay.
And then other, let's say, specialties. It's a teamwork. So there are some hematologists, like all different aspects. So they join and we try to fix the problem. But beside all this knowledge and all this ignorance that we are dealing with around cancer, we that simple step was you doing the ultrasound.
Yeah.
And
Probably,
I'm
yes.
not trying to blame you or just say
No,
yeah,
no,
but
not at all.
I,
Totally
I
get what.
hope that this discussion is going to help someone who is now on their the waiting for the ultrasound and might feel lazy as you did the other day.
No, I told my daughter
Hmm.
as soon as I had that, I told her, even though it's not hereditary, I told her I need you to do that every single year. And if someone says something to you that they're not going to do it, you tell them that you have a mom that has stage 4. So basically, going back, so what happened with me, unfortunately, I could have possibly been done with it but there was a piece of cancer that was right in the middle of my belly that had a lot of veins around it. So the surgeon, excuse me, the surgeon went in, but when he went to cut the cancer out, he cut one of my main veins. So I started bleeding out. So of course they intubated me. I bled out 2 liters of blood. He said they brought in a vascular surgeon. He's like, I was holding one of your veins. The other doctor, my doctor was holding the other. We sewed you up, and the vascular surgeon is like, you're gonna have to close her up. You can't take that. You can't take that piece out. It's too risky. So that was one of my biggest unfortunates, because if that had come out, that was basically most of the cancer was gone. So he told me when I woke up, he goes, you were, based on the histology and of whatever he saw in the cancer cells, that I was at a 3C. Because he didn't see anything on the liver, the spots that were on the liver. And so I was hospitalized for a good week. So from there we came back and into our town, because there was no doctor here in the town that I live. But the hospital that I was supposed to go to, thank God, is very near. So we went there and I got an oncologist. I got my first PET scan, and that's when I was told I had stage 4 cancer, because there were spots on my liver and that one spot that was in my stomach. So not to say that it was an easy day. I think the one mistake that I probably made was asking prognosis, because my daughter was sitting right there and I should have never done that, because it's something that sticks in your mind. And she goes, well, someone with the type of cancer you have and at the stage that it's at, usually it's a 3 to 5 year survival rate. My daughter ran out of the room at that point. And of course, what mother wants to hear that? So we're like, okay, we're going to start you with the typical paclitaxel, carboplatin. Excuse me. So for the last 3 years, I've been fighting it. I had some great successes. I had some great losses. I had time where I was very close for it to being gone, and then I took another drug, and there was time I had a growth in my throat. Then it went to my spinal cord. I had both of these taken off by radiation. And It's funny. In 2 weeks, I will be having my next PET scan. The last PET scan I had in October was just everything was fine, except just that little piece in my stomach. So this is probably my 6th or 7th chemo medication that I've been taking. And so I just really, the message that I want to give to women is please don't put your health on the back burner. That's what I did. Because maybe it would have been found, I know, in the vaginal ultrasound. I mean, how can you miss a mass on the vaginal ultrasound? And maybe it would have been at a level where you get everything out. Because my mother-in-law had the same thing the year before. She had cancer inside, but it had not spread. So she just had her hysterectomy and she was good to go. And so, it's been a long journey. I mean, I will tell you, you don't realize how important your hair is until you lose it. The first time I lost it, it was a joint effort. My brothers were very kind. They came over and they shaved their heads with me. So I had a lot of support, so it didn't bother me. The second time, when I got my hair back and I went back on chemo, and that really hit me. Like, I was in really bad shape at that time. And so then I went on to immunotherapy, which, it's like the big thing these days. Unfortunately, no, not for me. It just made me extremely sick. That's why I'm so swollen and so sick. I gained 50 pounds from that. I'm slowly losing that now. I've lost about 12 pounds. But it literally took the life out of me. I fell down the stairs one day, lost I couldn't walk at one point. My husband had to, bring me, because we are unfortunately in a 2-story home. So my bed was upstairs. So in the morning, he would bring me down. I'd have to go. I mean, there were times where I was in a wheelchair. But, things turned. This last year, I got put on a new medication, Topotecan, and it's been working really well. So far, so good. It's a very short infusion compared to the 7 hours I had to sit when I took paclitaxel, carboplatin. It's funny what you can handle when you have to handle it. Now even the half an hour seems so short. It's so long for me.
True.
But,
well, thank you for. First of all, I'm so impressed by your story. I don't want to say I'm sorry to hear that. I already heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no enough, but every time we talk about your story and of course what's happened and what your daughter been through that day and everything, it could maybe been handled better, but it's
Absolutely.
not about but I believe it's sometimes my personal experience about all this give time to patients is the most ridiculous thing ever.
Yeah.
They're all some kind of numbers, possibilities that no one ever. Who said that the doctor who is going to give this time to a patient is going to live longer than the patient? I mean, life
Exactly.
is happening for us every day, and you never know what is reserved for us every single day.
Exactly.
Live the life that this is your last day, and live it to the fullest. That's my belief. But your story has some points that can definitely be some kind of a, let's say, a hint, some kind of a snap for all of us some kind of like reminder that when we talk about self-care, self-care is not your pedicure, is not
Exactly.
your, it's not your, of course, if you want to take care of yourself in any way possible, that's awesome. If it's not, but
Right.
when you think about healthy the self-care, you don't need to think about buying a new Gucci purse.
Right. Right.
First things first, right? So among thousands of different cancers that we all know, there are a couple of them that they have like screening protocols, like cervical cancer, breast cancer, and colon cancer. These three are the most significant one.
Right.
And regardless of what country you live in, from like East Asia, Middle East, Africa, Europe, North America, South America, they have their own protocols. Uh, it start at age around 40 by
Yes.
breast cancer.
Yes.
Again, in different countries, from 1 to 3 years, every year, every 2 years. Uh, Mammogram is the only way, the best way possible to screening breast cancer. So
Right.
if you have ever heard about self care, you need to be obligated to this regime, to this protocol.
Right.
40
Right.
years, every 2 to 3 years, breast cancer, like let's say screening or mammogram.
Right.
Then it comes to colonoscopy for
Right.
colon cancer. Of again, if you haven't done your colonoscopy or your colon cancer screening and you are over 50 years and you
Yes.
even think about doing anything else, you need to know that you are going the wrong way.
Right.
This is
Right.
uh, and these are the second hand of prevention. So we try to detect the cancer if it happens. If we go
Right.
one step behind, one step even, uh, let's say, period of this, is to choose a healthier lifestyle.
Yes.
And we
Yeah.
will get there. We will talk about the healthier lifestyle. But I'm so grateful that you join and you talk about your
Yeah.
story. And I wish that everything goes well. I hope everything goes well with
Thank you.
you.
I just wanted to add one thing. I um, I didn't know this, and I used to use, and I'm saying this, they don't have talcum in most powders anymore, but talcum powder is a carcinogen, and I used to use it for chafing a lot. So I'm thinking, because one of the sad parts about ovarian cancer is there's not a lot of indicators that are out of the norm. The indicators are lethargy, fatigue, things that women in their 40s or any age, if they're doing a lot of things, experience anyways. And so that's the only thing that I could think that I was doing that possibly could have caused that aside from stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will tell anybody out there, please make those appointments. If I would have just done my annual every year appointment, taking care of myself, instead of, like you said, making time out for a manicure and pedicure, maybe I wouldn't have gotten here. But it's a lesson learned, and I'm glad that, I've made it 3 years. I'm planning on kicking its butt. That's all I can do. I'm not going to give up. It's not worth it. And I even in cancer, I've traveled. I've enjoyed myself because I wanted to those moments because I didn't know what my life or how long my life was going to be.
Who knows? Who does?
No, but no, exactly. And what you told me the other day, you know what? It really opened up my eyes. I really appreciated that when we talked about death. It really brought a lot of calm to me, and just some like acceptance. And I really, really appreciate that of yours. And now I'm just, like I said, in 2 weeks I get my PET scan. last PET scan came back really good. This PET scan, I'm really, really, really praying that it comes back no evidence of disease. So we'll just, at this point, it's just a waiting game, but I'll keep you guys posted.
Definitely, you are a great warrior, and you have hundreds of people following you or
Thank
your
you,
story.
thank
They're sending you
I really
their
appreciate it.
energy, and yeah, sure. Talk to you soon
Okay.
again. Thank you again for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Iman.
Thank you so
I'll
much.
talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
All right. So far we had one guest. We talk about her story, but in general, I mentioned that there are certain kind of cancers that there are nowadays on top of the preventable kind of cancers, treatable if are diagnosed in early stage. So we talk about breast cancer, age 40 plus, every 1 to 3 years, mammogram, depends on your country, and there is no indication for self-exam anymore, office exam anymore, no MRI needed, no CT scan, a simple mammogram. And this is the most lethal cancer in women, can be prevented. And I believe we already have other guests with this kind of stories. Let's see who wants to join me today. I'm waiting for Angela. I was about to invite you. I don't know what's happened. You left, but you are welcome to you are welcome. You are welcome to join me here. Let's see. Join back. Welcome back. Let's see. Hello. Hi.
Hi, but I can't see you. Okay, now I see.
Okay. Okay, great. Hey, how are you?
How are you? Yeah, I'm fine.
Thank you so much for
Thank you.
joining me
I'm
today.
fine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for receiving me. Thank you for sharing this day.
Absolutely.
Because I have a stuffy nose. It's the sequelae of nasopharyngeal cancer. I had it in 2015. I was pregnant with my daughter. But the diagnostic was in December 2016. They make, I will say 2 years to diagnostic the cancer, and the grade is get higher, grade 4. Okay, it starts.
Angela, thank you for joining me. Let's start from just take a deep breath. It's okay. I'm so glad that you joined. It's really nice to have you here. Why don't you start with the introduction? What's your name? Where are you connecting from? And then we get to your story.
Sorry. I'm Jenna. I'm originally from Morocco, and I'm living in Luxembourg. But I spent 22 years in Europe. First, I lived in France, and now I'm living in Luxembourg 11 years now.
Okay.
And I have 46 years soon. I will have 46.
Happy early birthday.
Thank you. And I have 3 children.
Right.
And any other question?
Thank you for your introduction. That was absolutely nice to hear. And let's talk about your story of this nasopharyngeal cancer. And if I'm not wrong, it was, as you said, like stage 4.
Yes. Stage 4. It starts when I was pregnant. It started in the 4th month of pregnancy. And it started with a pain on my head, on my neck first. And it's a girl tell my face, tell my head here on the front. But it's a touch a lot my left side. As you see, I have my eyes, when I'm a little bit tired, I always have my eyes closed. And they put 2 years to diagnostic this. It was a mistake, but I forgive them. Nobody is perfect, because I go to the to see a lot of doctors. Not because of the pain on my neck and my head, and I had a lot of blood from my nose. They say because you are pregnant, it's happened with pregnant women. And I go to see also, I don't know how to say it in English, but I can say it in French, ORL.
The specialist
for nose, air, and I go to see 4, not 8. They give me MRI to do, but without product, contrast product, you know. They can't see anything. But all this happened when I get my daughter.
And you were pregnant, yeah. So we will get to the diagnose and, let's say, maybe late diagnose or misdiagnose that you mentioned. But do you have any idea that why it happened?
Because I think because of stress. You talk about cancer or about diagnostic?
The cancer itself.
The cancer. Personally, it's happened to my mom, and I didn't accept it. And it's happened to my mother-in-law. At the same time, I had also the cancer, and I didn't accept of my mother-in-law and my auntie also. I never accepted, because I said they are a good person. You can't wish this to anyone, really. And when it's happened to me, it was like, oh my God, it was like, finally, I know what I had. I knew that I was suffering, but nobody knows what it was. Because all the doctors said, you don't have anything, it's psychic. 2 years till it's come in grade 4, metastasis on my neck, and it was very hard, but I welcome it. I accept it. It's come like this, because it's happened to me. When it happened to my mother and my mother-in-law and my auntie, I didn't accept it. I was crying. I was always not good. But when it happened to me, when the diagnostic, when they say that I have a nasopharyngeal cancer, it's very rare. I was the second person who have it in Luxembourg. And thanks universe or God that I had only chemotherapy, and 38 sessions of radiotherapy was very, very hard. They put on my stomach tube. How can we say? Peg. We say peg in French.
You couldn't eat because of the cancer. You couldn't receive anything through your mouth.
Yes.
Yes, peg.
Yeah, peg to nourish me. But I never accept this milk they give me. I only make smoothies with nuts, with dates, with avocado, banana, some not milk, but it's a vegan milk, and I take the syringe and I put this smoothies on my stomach, and I was good. Really, it was very beautiful experience for me because it taught me a lot, and I want to say to everyone who suffers from cancer, just please welcome it, accept it, and talk with the cancer. You can talk with the cancer. You can talk with every disease. Just say, you come to visit me, I accept you. Now it's time to go from my body.
Angela.
Yeah.
I love your share.
Thank you.
You are talking about different stuff that I want to talk about, of course. Again, let's start with why. There is, we should, first of all, accept the cancer itself, but we should take our part, our responsibility, right? It happened to your aunt. It happened to your mom. It was just right here, right? You didn't want to see it. It was just in front of your eyes. You didn't want to see it because what we are going to learn here is there must be a reason. Either it's genetic, it's like toxin, it could be some radiation, medication, something, the reason. So we found the reason. So I have no idea about your case, but I assume that genetic factor is really strong there. But when you don't want to accept it, you don't address it anymore. There is a big elephant in the room and no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so you went through this, and this is, I don't know, it's luck or whatever, because I know the country that you live in is one of the most advanced countries in medicine. So you get access to the best practices these days. Yeah. Even without any surgery, you got your radiation. So this is, again, there is always positivity in every single event. If you look like wider with open-minded, like how many other patients do you think have the same, maybe somehow like this, like you in Morocco, and don't have the access to this kind of care?
I don't have any idea, but I know that in Morocco, they don't have access. That's
kind of like interesting that you said, because I know that over the last 20 years, it was a huge movement in Morocco, because like 20 years ago, it was no cancer care available in Morocco, and they are like working around it. And today in like World Cancer Conference, they talk about Morocco's achievements, which was huge. So again, even if this happened to you, it could have been even worse. Now you have access to treatment to cure, and that's another point of looking at things. And again, you talk about your tube, the peg. I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with the connection, but anyway, we always need to remember that as long as you don't accept and you don't take responsibility, and okay, so let's sit and talk. Dear cancer, you're here. There must be something that I haven't noticed, or I didn't want to talk about, or there is something that I know this is my part, my responsibility, but let's see how we can fix it from now, even one single day. I am so sorry, I lost Angela's connection. I am still waiting for you to join if possible. But okay, she's coming back here. Okay, let's see.
Hello again.
Nice to see you again. Hello again. Thank you. Yes, so taking responsibility for your part, because you already accepted that, okay, so let's say the signs was there, but I didn't want to see them. And then, okay, you talk to your cancer. You already decided to, okay, so let's see how we can work around it. And so how are you doing these days?
Good. It's have been now 5 years. I want to talk also about my health. I always practice sports, healthy food. I prepare my food myself. I always did this. I had the cancer, maybe about what you said, because I didn't want to see what's happened to my mom, to my auntie, to my mother-in-law. And I had a healthy life. Every time, sports, I cook by myself, food, everything. And now I continue my really healthy life. And yes, but the experience I had about cancer, it was very good for me. I will not say, oh my God, this cancer, or I'm thrilled, or no. I say, thanks God, thank you universe. I had it. It's gone. Now I am good. I can do my workout. I can do my yoga. I can. It's become normal now. But I have sequelae from radiotherapy and from cancer also, because I didn't have surgery. They can't make surgery on my face. They can't. And my head also, they can't. That's why I get only chemo and radiotherapy. And now I'm good. My children are growing. That's good. Happy to see them growing. They were so young. They don't know about my story. Only my big son. He is 14. And yeah, life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful. We should live every moment, every day, like last day. Like it's our last day. Believe me. Which helped me a lot. It's sharing love, smiling, dancing, laughing, watching movies, comedy, always laughing. And people, they look at me, they say, you are crazy, you are taking something, some drugs or like something like this. I said, no, I'm normal.
The greatest gift of people who have faced this kind of challenges is that they appreciate life to the fullest. To every single minute, every single day counts.
Yeah. So of course. And I have sequelae, but I accept them. I accept them fully, and hope one day I will have maybe an ORL to get this stuffy nose, because I'm always talking like not quack quack.
You're talking perfect. Your message and your voice is the best voice to hear. Don't even think about it. I mean, don't even doubt it. Thank you.
You are awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Angela. Shukran for joining me today. and I wish you all the best and health. And
Shukra to you also.
thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm responding to comments and reactions on different platforms. Somehow you might think that, why is he thanking someone? Thank you. Thank you. I need to be mindful to everyone. Human, thank you. God. Okay, so again, what we learned here from this share is, as long as you ignore a problem, you're not solving it. You're just postponing the damage and worsening the pain. There must be a reason. There must be something that we missed. Either genetic, either lifestyle, either there is something that we don't want to look at, and it doesn't help. So the sooner we address, we talk, we think, we talk to professionals, we address the problem, the better is the outcome. I noticed a question. It was actually a really good one on TikTok. And what was the symptoms? I am going to share some simple, let's say, symptoms. Before I get there, I just wanted to announce, to mention, to talk about. So this is not medical advice, but this is a medical fact. I am, after 20 years of reading, practicing medicine, and educating myself around medicine, I'm confident enough to talk about this stuff. But again, this is not an individual medical advices. So I recommend you all to talk to your healthcare provider if you have any of these symptoms or you have any kind of like these concerns. But there are some simple, let's say, indicators that might be related to somehow cancer or anything like this. Again, let's start with the simplest one. Let's say fever. Does fever mean that I have cancer? Definitely not. It could be one of the many other reasons. It could be as like a common cold that you have fever. But let's say unexplained fever for a long time, it could be that sometimes you feel hot. That what is the reason? Again, it can be many other reasons, but fever, especially unexplained fever, is one of the indicators that, okay, so we better look into that. Weight loss, unexplained, unintentional weight loss. There are questions that we ask our patients when they, every single visit, even if they don't talk about it, we ask about fever. Have you lost weight, especially unintentionally? Sometimes we have patients that they don't even complain about their weight loss because they're happy. Oh, I'm losing weight. The question is that, do you want to lose weight or do you want to be healthy? Do you want to live a healthier life? These are two different things. So weight loss is important because we talk about the cancer is an unwanted growth. So it's demanding all these nutritions in your body to grow. So that's how we lose weight. Fever, weight loss, there are lumps and bumps around your body. Sometimes there is a small lymph node in neck, in your inguinal area, in your belly somewhere. Like there are different places in the axillary armpit. So any lumps and bumps around the body could be something to address. Of course, you talk to your healthcare provider. And the last one is disturbed sleep, especially when you're sweating when you're sleeping, and that could be something to address. These are the, let's say, bleeding with no explain can be some kind of like indicator, bleeding. And women after age 40, 45, when you have like a let's say, unexplained change in your period, it can be something to definitely talk to you. Not can be, definitely need to talk to your doctor about it and must be addressed. And bruises around your body. Sometimes you say, okay, why, I don't know why my body is getting bruises with with the slightest touch. There are things to, again, there are indicators that they show that you need to talk to your doctor about your general health. And from the on the other hand, let's say, what can we do? We talk about mammogram. We talk about uh, pap smear. Pap smear is the best practice to early detection of cervical cancer. It starts at, like, again, in different countries it's different, but at age maybe 21 to 25, depends on the country and the protocols, pap smear must be done. Colon cancer, thank you. Colon cancer with colonoscopy from age 50. Again, these are the things that if you haven't done, and you should do it like today. Breast cancer after 40, colonoscopy after 50, and pap smear like from very early ages, like in your 20s. Don't smoke. Stop smoking. Even secondhand smoke. Passive smokers are at risk, so don't be around people who smokes. And it's not, we talk about toxin, right? Don't be around people who feed you toxin, either through their smokes, either with their lifestyle, either with their mind, either with their words, with their behaviors. Do not expose yourself to toxin in any way possible. You don't need to read all the bad news around the world every day. You don't need to get to all bad stories that happening from east to west. If you cannot do something about it, why are you concerned? So just try to focus on your health, your lifestyle, the better things. And because news is meant to be at least more frequently around bad news. No one is going to fill their everyday news with like birth and happiness and wedding and all this happiness is happy sometimes happening. Sometimes, yeah, this criminal did that and that country invaded the other country. This is because that's how news are working. You don't need to get through all of them. Somehow there is something related to your life, and sometimes we just need to don't listen, don't follow the news if you cannot do anything about them, of course. And so avoid toxin in every single way possible. I still have about 15 minutes, and I would love to talk to one more guest if possible. Let's see. Hello.
Hello,
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay.
Thank you, Victoria, for joining me. Please introduce yourself because people cannot see all of them. They cannot see you.
Yes, I'm Victoria from Belgium. I am 46 and I am actually someone who has seen cancer through the family and being through a cancer, several cancers myself. So yes, I'm very actually glad that you speak about this topic. It's something very near to my heart, and it's important for people to be aware, but without panicking around it. It's when I say awareness, it's really being and becoming the best friend that you can be to help yourself become healthier. So I have a friend of mine who has gone through cancer herself, who's watching, and Rashida too. So I consider her as being my sister and also a friend. So lots of love to both of them and all the ladies who are on this call and who know, like Angela too, how hard it can be. So what I wanted to share is that there are different symptoms that you mentioned, which I completely agree with. And in my case, it was a bit strange. Normally, they say cancer does not hurt. But my 1-year-old was running towards me, and sometimes, the little babies are not really stable. He was 1 year and some months. And so he came with his head near my it was just here, and I felt like not a lump. It's just like as if he was playing with me, and it was hurtful. But it stayed on for 3 weeks, and then I went to see the oncologist. Normally, I had a mammogram planned already. As I was breastfeeding, I was not allowed to do so, so I had to wait. And then I asked to go earlier, and they accepted me. And then they said, look, okay, we're going to do the mammogram, then an ultrasound. And then the nurse came again. She said, we're going to do another mammogram. You're a young person. We don't see enough, but we see something. And then another ultrasound. And then she said, don't worry, don't worry. The more she said, don't worry, I got worried, of course.
Yeah, like doctor said, oh, it's not going to hurt. Oh, come on. Seriously? Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for telling me. And after the last ultrasound, they said, we are going to do a biopsy. And I went, okay. At the time, I was watching ER. I was watching Dr. House. I didn't know much about medical stuff, but biopsy, that was like, not sounding good. So it did something with me at the time, psychologically, like, okay, this is serious. But at the same time, I didn't want to worry. I was studying psychology at Open University, and I was so much into positive psychology. So I used that to get through this all, but I had my ups and downs. And I'm going to, if you allow me, to share a poem in a second that I wrote at the time. And that shows that I was not always positive. So I had my very dark moments too. But what I wanted to say is that worrying is very human. And oncologists, they do what they can with what they have. When you have the biopsy, you have to wait for a week to have the results. So you think, okay, what is going to happen to me? So I have a very creative brain. So it was the worst case scenario, the nice case scenario, but all together. And at a certain moment, I just wanted to be very centered. But I wasn't. And I just want to tell something. I'm sure that most people who have to go back for the checkup afterwards, even when you prepare yourself psychologically, that week before the exam, you're not the same person, and you can be like very anxious or a bit mad for nothing. And every year I was making sure I was not panicking. I was making sure I was not into that modus of some bad thing is going to happen to me. And although I was trying to educate myself, I could not do it. My body took over. A very important thing that I want to link with that, you spoke about the family ties, the family strings. I'm going to share something very personal. Just this year, last year now, we are in 2022, but in 2021, in June and September, I did a family constellation.
And in September, I could feel, sense, huge stress, internal stress, gone, really gone. So it helped me a lot. So I'm sure that when there are ladies having the aunties getting ill, the mothers getting ill, all of this does play a role. We can, of course, check upon it medically. It can be genetic, it cannot be genetic, but the emotional side is very important. And you said something in one of your lives where you said that even the ancestors are still around in some way. And I do believe that there is something with that too. And that's a good thing too, because they know what they have been through and how it can help us to get better. I'm a very firm believer in God, and I know that He can help people in many, many ways. And one of the very good friend of mine, she wrote a book, and it was amazing. She really did a lot with prayer. She's very conscious that you can get towards a success in your recovery through prayer and other possibilities. So let's say it's really a joint venture with the oncologist, with the surgeons, and with yourself, while doing the best you can with what you have. And I think that the spiritual and emotional side has not been in-depth searched or researched for. Mm-hmm. In my case, I have at least 5 reasons why I got what I got at the beginning of breast cancer. I had some health issues as a young child, 12, 13-year-old, with my back. So I had radiation. I had a lot of, in the 80s, it was like every 2 weeks I went back to make a picture, but radiation. The environment where I had a home. I bought a house near an industry park. I moved house because of that. I sold the house. I was panicking. So as a solo entrepreneur, I wanted to have a bigger business. So I sold the house, I put it in the business, and it went bankrupt. So you do stupid things because of disease. But I'm okay. I still have my other company, but just it's such an emotional roller coaster. You think clearly, but most of the time we do not. So being assisted is very important. Some surgeons and some doctors allow people to record the conversation, the bad news conversation. I think that's crucial. Why? Because our prefrontal is just, we be blank when we hear the bad news, and we cannot think properly, or we ask strange questions like, how many years do I still have? Of course, that's a very important question. But why am I telling this? I think on the communication side, there is still some improvement, and that no one should go alone to see their doctor. I went alone. I don't know why. I was like, I'm going to handle this, but that's not a good way. Take someone with you, because there's always something you're missing. I wanted to share the poem. I'm going to share it in French first. Actually, from 2010 until 2019, I went to, there is in Brussels, a school for nurses for people who do radiotherapy, assisting people for radiotherapy, which I went through. And I went there every year to talk about give my testimony. And I oftentimes put 1 or 2 poems in those testimonies. I'm going to say it in French first and then in English. Quand la maladie s'annonce, c'est une lame qui s'enfonce. Elle brise tous tes rêves, tes projets s'achèvent. Quand la maladie fait intrusion, elle bloque toute motivation à continuer tes ambitions, à entretenir tes relations. Espérance de vie raccourcie, regard sur l'infini. Tout te fait revivre le passé, rien ne peut te contenter.
sauf une pensée affirmée qui te permet de virer ce sentiment d'impuissance et de reprendre confiance. Affronter la maladie, l'accepter sans repli et surmonter l'épreuve, refaire bonheur. So I'm going to say it in English.
Oh, that part with melody. What was that? And it's very in the very last piece.
Yes, the last one. Affronter la maladie, l'accepter sans repli, surmonter l'épreuve, refaire bonheur.
Mm-hmm.
And I will explain in a minute why I said that. Okay. It's a very powerful part. Mm-hmm. You're right. I wrote this in 2009. And I'm going to say it in English and then explain the last part.
Please.
When illness announces itself, it's a blade that sinks. It shatters all your dreams and your plans come to an end. When illness intrudes and blocks all motivation to continue your ambitions, to maintain your relationships, life expectancy shortened, looking at the infinite. Everything makes you relive the past. Nothing can satisfy you, except an assertive thought that allows you to get rid of that feeling of helplessness and regain confidence, to face the disease, accept it without retreat, overcome the ordeal, renew your skin. So in French, we say refaire peau neuve. It's literally, it means to have a new skin. Another part is that you renew actually your life, or you renew whatever is happening. And I did that because, of course, I had a mastectomy, so I was renewing my skin in some way. And I just want to share a little something. My son, when I had my surgery, he was then a year later, so he was a year and something, and then he was 2 years and something. Couldn't talk too much, but he said, "Mom, what's happening to you?" And I wanted to explain, but it's very difficult. And as I had to go through surgery and have a part of my tummy taken to renew the skin, and then I said to my son in really easy words, I said, "Look, Mom is going to take a little bit of a tummy and she'll have a new skin." And then when I came back, he saw a little bit of a scar. He said, "Mom, are you in pain?" But he didn't say pain. He said, "Pain." I said, no, sweetie, I'm no pain. And he said, "Oh, no, tummy." I said, "Yes, tummy." So he remembered. He remembered about the surgery. And I think, although we cannot always explain everything to our children, we can use simple words to explain difficult stuff.
I hope that we don't. I wish that we don't. I hope that we, instead of, Victoria, your share is amazing. But listen, I mean, even me, after 20 years of being in medicine, I cannot explain it in any way better than you did. I wish that instead of we trying to create new words and new explanations to convince ourselves that, yeah, everything is under control, just to leave it and approach everything like your 2 years old did. You know, like take it as simple. We make life so complicated. We want to explain everything. We take life, death, and everything. So like there are creatures around this universe. Every day, billions of lives are starting and ending, and we are the only creatures that takes life so seriously. We want to explain everything. Just let's approach with your 2-year son. Does it pain? No pain. Tell me, okay. I mean, that's it. Just let it go. You don't need to explain.
No, and that was enough. And he was reassured. It was really, actually, that's a scene in my life that I will never forget. And I'm actually happy that I had that conversation with him. And at the same time, and that's another part, we need to be realistic, but don't hang on to the pain. And not only the physical one, but the psychological one. Being and becoming aware there is pain, there is a lot of suffering. I went through a burnout that was diagnosed 8 years later because of the cancer. but I didn't realize it because I was so positive. But it can become toxic when you are too positive. So I had to face reality, and that took me 2 years. And it started with the pandemic. Just a month before, some business partners saw that I was not okay. And they said, you need to rest. Stop doing whatever you're doing. I said, no, I'm fine. No, you're not fine. And then I rested, and then the pandemic came. And I said, okay, not only am I stopping, but a month later, the whole world is stopping. And then a new journey became well, it was, I went into learning to understand what happened. Yes.
Yeah, your share is extremely powerful. You mentioned this, yes, like let me read the poem, and then that I haven't always been this positive, and I was in my darkest days, and that's how you become positive. I mean, we are not naive to say, hey guys, everything is all right, everything's gonna be all right. You need to go deep. I think, like they say, hit the rock bottom and face your darkest demands, darkest days, and darkest moments. And then when you come back from that and you face this darkness, you realize that there is more into us than in darkness. So that's how you become positive. And all the share that we had today, Rashta, Angela, you being there, you face everything and you accept it, and now you come back positive, fearless, and with, let's say, black belt acceptance. This is life, right?
That's beautifully said. Thank you so much, Doctor. And thank you for all the nice comments that I'm reading. And I'm going to post book poems into this life. And this is my gift to anyone reading you, and also to you, because you are a very courageous man. And I think it's remarkable that we have someone like yourself to share this. The sharing is super important. When I got to share this story with the lady that became my friend more than 2 years ago, we were in an entrepreneur group, and I couldn't attend, and I saw her on Facebook. I said, I need to meet her. So we were not supposed to meet, and we met each other. And there is something about cancer thrivers. We understand each other quite quickly. We are in another dimension. And people who have had people near them who had cancer, it's the same. We have another language that is not words.
This exact what, as I said, this black belt of acceptance that you are all wearing, you and Angela and Rashta and many others. It just, sometimes it doesn't need to happen for the individual to get there. Maybe the loved one faced the cancer, and now we know that how does life work? And this is like, let's say, an ideology, a cult of people who maybe you haven't even met. You never met Angela before, but I'm sure if you just sit with her, you can easily connect and you can talk for hours, and you understand each other. You see life through the same lens. So that's the beauty of this. Is like, I think your perception of life is the most pure, the purest type, the purest kind of like perception, and pretty much not so far from what your son had maybe years ago.
Yes, and it does influence the children, but in a good way, hopefully. We are always expecting the best for everything that we do. So
thank you so much for your share. Thank you. It's always nice to have you, and thank you for sharing the poem. And you're going to put it on the comment section, please. If you do it on the YouTube as well, because my friends on YouTube, they enjoyed your poem as well. And thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your share. You're always like star here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
All right. So we reached our 90 minutes. Next couple of minutes will be a little bit of my share. We talk about different aspects of cancer. We talk to 3 different cancer warriors. That was like a variety of diagnoses and stories, but as you saw, almost all the story were something between 40 to 50. So to have it in mind, it's not necessarily for over 70 years or like, no, that was too soon. That was, I mean, it's not for me. I'm still young. I have children. I just had my birth. I mean, I have my family. It can happen to anyone. The best treatment is to prevent, and simple, healthy choices. So if you have been watching me over last year and from this talk, starting this talk, you know that I'm not going to go salesy, but one of the best health choices that I have seen recently, one of the best shortcuts, it's the Juice Plus that I'm promoting and I'm taking and I'm inviting all my friends to take. This is one of the best detox programs. It's not a medication. It's not a vitamin. It's not a chemical something. It's all plant-based, omegas, berries, vegetables, and fruits, powder in a fiber capsule, all plant-based. So we have been exposed to toxin all our life, in our physical, in our environment, from the nail polish that you use to all this air pollution, to radiation, to lead poisoning. Like even in Canada, houses before 1975, if I'm not wrong, they have lead poisoning, let's say, risk in their painting in the wall. So I mean, I just want to mention that this poisons are everywhere and we are facing them everywhere. One of the best choices that we can make, not just okay, so whatever you want to do, eat more vegetables and fruits, berries and omegas. And if you think that you can do this through my offer, please reach me out, send me an email, DM, hit me in a WhatsApp. I have my contact on my Instagram. You can just send me, and let me share this with you. Let me send you some information. And this is not a sale. This is an offer to you and your family to live a healthier life. Be blessed. I see that I'm trying to change this phrase of God bless you. I think God already blessed us with creating us as the most advanced creatures that I know. We're supposed to be the most advanced. So stay blessed and take care of yourself, take care of your family, your loved ones, and remember to smile more. I love you all. Thank you for joining me today, watching me, and hopefully tomorrow I will come back with the game night, and here we go. This information that I share about breast cancer, about cervical cancer, and some other tips and tricks that I just mentioned, I will post them in the next couple of days through my Instagram. You can get access to this information. Love you all. Take care and enjoy your Friday. Ciao.